Meanwhile, in an apparent rebuke to the vice president's visit to Israel, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has just made a trip of his own. Abbas has just spoken to the Council of European Foreign Diplomats, who say that despite Trump's Jerusalem declaration, the EU still backs East Jerusalem as the proposed capital of a future Palestinian state. ILTV's Aaron Porras is here. And Aaron, what does this mean for the future of the peace process?
So it means a few different things. So let's kind of split this up and tackle all the aspects that you just discussed. So we have, first of all, the recognition of East Jerusalem as a future capital of a Palestinian state in the future. Again, there was at no point any refusal to acknowledge the possibility of that happening. So that really doesn't change much of anything. Aside from that, Abbas's intended goal wasn't, however, to get Jerusalem back only. It was really to get as many EU countries to unilaterally recognize Palestine as possible, as well as to ideally replace the United States as a peace partner in negotiations. Well, there are a few countries that have recognized Palestine in the past from the EU, but after this latest trip, very few are following suit. And as far as replacing the United States, the EU's response has been essentially just a flat-out no. Saying that even if we reduce the involvement of the United States, they are an inextricable partner in the peace process. So, really just the boycott then, if we move forward, the boycott of Hamas and Abbas and all the Palestinian factions of the United States is just putting them in a worse position in terms of future negotiations.
All right, well, let's check out your report for some more details.
ومع كل التقدير والاحترام لمواقف أوروبا التي نعتبرها صديقا أو شريكا حقيقيا للسلام في الشرق الأوسط، فإننا طالبنا ونطالب هذه الدول بأن تعترف بدولة فلسطين. إن الاعتراف لن يكون عقبة في طريق المفاوضات للوصول إلى سلام.
This visit to the EU comes at a critical crossroads for the Palestinians, who say they will no longer accept the United States as an impartial negotiator to the Middle East peace. Many believe Abbas's meeting with European leaders is an attempt to fill this gap in the peace process. And while 9 EU nations do already officially recognize Palestinian statehood, others are still unsure if the time is right.
We recommitted ourselves to our united, consolidated position in favor of two-state solution with Jerusalem as capital of both. And we reaffirmed, and I was glad to see that the Palestinian side was agreeing with that, we reaffirmed our conviction that the framework has to be multilateral. And so we will continue to work within the quartet, which means with our partners, the United States, the United Nations and Russia, enlarging this to a few Arab countries and possibly to Norway.
But Abbas's speech to the EU does seem to accomplish at least some of the desired effect. Slovenia's foreign minister has announced that his country is ready and willing to recognize a Palestinian state, though it's unclear if more EU nations will follow. They have agreed to unconditionally back East Jerusalem as the capital of said future Palestinian state, which certainly puts them at odds with current United States and Israeli plans. With the Palestinians literally shutting down much of East Jerusalem and the West Bank in protest of Vice President Pence's mere presence in Jerusalem, many worry that direct negotiations are further off than ever before.